my party. We're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare star.
Good morning, everyone. Looks like everything is turned on. All lights are green, and we are ready for takeoff. Going to take a look at the chats real quick here, kind of let things build up a little bit before we give the score. Need to move this over here. This is in the way. My coffee is in the way. Looks like it's kind of even right now. 7 YouTube, 3 Rumble, but we shall let the things begin. Honestly, I don't expect a lot of people to be here today because nobody wants to talk about basic preparedness. Somebody wants to talk about getting started. They all want to talk about the world as it is. And that is something that I've tried to move away from. If you were on the excuse me, if you were on the members only live last night, you got an earful, you got the rant, you got all the political talk stuff that you can probably deal with for a week. So I guess that's what we're going to start doing that for. Obviously, you guys said you wanted a mix of this and that, but we are currently going out live on multiple streams, and the numbers have not changed. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Obviously, on the Rumble side, we're just going to knock Rumble out because Paradigm Shift is losing his mind. First, and I believe the only one. He's just thank you, Paradigm Shift for filling the chat on the Rumble side. All right, let's see here. And then what do we got here? Over on the YouTube side, we've got Rose first, Jordan O'Neill. Number 2, Catitude, you are deterred. We're going to throw you guys up there because you are YouTube members. And we got Cool Colt showing up here. We got Oops is in the house. We got Light Raider. Ian's over here. And Jordan O'Neill. There we go. The shift has hit the fan. I love it. Okay, so it looks like the room is starting to fill just a little bit on the YouTube side. It's hard to tell. But what I wanted to do is get back to the basics. Also, quick admin note. I will be doing a video later on today for more of the prep stock giveaway items. Very simplistic, but I owe some of these companies some videos, and I need to knock them out. Today's going to be a busy day for me working in the shop and actually working into the evening. So that video will get done probably in the afternoon. Hopefully I will get it uploaded to you by this evening. If not, it'll roll out tomorrow. Oh, let's see here. I like the seasonal. Jordan says, I like the seasonal back to basic charts. Well, I don't know about charts, but we're going to talk about a few things. I'm not really a charts guy because that means that you're a PowerPoint guy, and I hate PowerPoints. They're great for instructors so that they have cheat cards that everybody can see, but for the most part, they're pretty much just crutches. They're crutches. All right, let's see here. It says chats. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Maybe I need to make the font bigger. I mean, there's got to be a way to make are my eyes? I just did it. I just made the font bigger. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you very much. All right, so go ahead and get right into it here. Emergency preparedness it's not a lifestyle that one adapts to overnight, and it requires a great deal of effort before someone can truly consider themselves a prepper. After more than a decade of living this lifestyle, we've witnessed both the success and failure, and can attest to the journey of preparedness as being challenged. That there's no shortcuts. For many of the people that decide to go down this path, it's being prepared is filled with difficulties, but the goal is achievable with the right mindset and approach. Whether you're just beginning or you've been involved for years, the suggestions that I'm going to provide for you are going to be to encourage you to follow a logical approach and critically evaluate preparedness efforts. Now, with that said, the first thing that we need to take stock of is gathering information before acquiring resources. Many times we just like, okay, we need to start prepping, and we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know how, but we're going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos, and we're going to buy a bunch of stuff on Amazon, and then we're going to think that we've taken our first step. But this is the first mistake that many people make, and is jumping straight into stockpiling, after reading a few articles or watching TV shows about preppers. They rush to accumulate supplies, believing that a large stockpile is the key to survival. This method is flawed and leads to unnecessary spending. Shortage issues and logistical challenges such as surplus supplies, lack of space, and inadequate testing of resources. Now, before we go out, if you're a brand new prepper and you're watching this video, before you go out and start raiding the stores, it's essential to first assess the current situation and begin learning about what preparedness truly entails. A well thought out plan and organized list should precede any significant purchases. Otherwise, the individual is going to risk becoming a hoarder rather than a prepper. Emergency preparedness involves much more than buying items. It demands learning and reading extensively. Some people may resist this approach, either due to lack of time or because they used to solve problems by spending money. Taking things slowly and building from a foundation of knowledge will prevent feeling overwhelmed and quitting prematurely. Now, you might want to begin with identifying what one needs to prepare for, understanding the available resources for each family member, determining additional needs, and planning where and how to store supplies. After answering these fundamental questions, focus on ensuring that the family can survive for at least 6 months. My minimum goal is 3, but 6 is a great amount. 6 pretty much gets you through any kind of real crisis inside the United States. The next challenge is tackling what if questions, which introduce unpredictability into the preparation process. Examples include, what if the water supply becomes contaminated or runs out? The situation demands a plan to procure more water while rationing existing supplies. What if supplies are stolen or damaged? Backup plans, such as extra stashes or bartering, become essential. What if I'm injured or killed? A spouse or trusted individual must be able to take over, sharing the same mindset and knowledge. And finally, on this section, what if evacuation is necessary? This is particularly important depending on your location and requires a prepared bug-out bag, vehicle, and location. Each of these plans generates additional what-if scenarios. One thing builds upon the other, further reinforcing the need for careful information gathering and preparation. Now, as usual, guys, I read some stuff to you and you write some stuff in the chat, and then we talk about what you've written in the chat, and then we move on. This is how this process works. I'm going to go ahead and go to the poll, which I hadn't actually talked about just yet. And it looks like we have 8 votes. We have 11 people in there. You need to get in the poll, guys. The question is, which prepping step do you find most important when starting out? Currently, 50% say set realistic priorities. 38% say gather information first. Man, these yawns are just like little big ones that are just hiding down in there. And 12% say manage your finances. And then 0% is say involve family and other members. Now, in the chat, let's see here. Paradigm Shift says education. Education. That's a good start. Let's see here. Rose says was basically raised as a prepper. Farm families were your original preppers, canning, freezing, animal husbandry, so on. Very true. Jordan says preppers have to be very organized and clean to keep their stock, or it was all for nothing. Very true. Very true. you've got to be organized. There's a lot to be said for organizational skills as a prepper, because one of the things, because we buy things in quantity, it's very easy to just shove it to the back of the shelf and say, I'll do the paperwork later. Now, if you're disciplined enough to come back because you didn't have time to do it, then I understand, but most people are not. And what they'll do is they'll just kind of glance at their shelves and go, I got enough. I think I got enough. And so it's very important to be as organized as possible and know what's on those shelves and know what should be on those shelves. So it's all there. It's all there. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. I'm not seeing anything else in the chats. So we're going to go ahead and move on. And the second thing that we need to think about is setting your preparedness priorities. It is important to prepare for every conceivable scenario. And this is a reality that many need to accept. The notion of becoming an expert survivalist is unrealistic for the average person. Rather than becoming discouraged, people should focus on maximizing their chances of surviving likely events. Preparation should be based on the probability of certain events occurring. While some may worry about the end of days or an alien invasion, more practical concerns such as natural disasters or power outages should take precedence. If living in an area prone to floods or wildfires, these should be the focus of preparedness efforts. Those what if scenarios. So what if scenarios are also critical when prioritizing. In the case of floods or wildfires, resources may need to be stockpiled in a safe place, and a bug-out plan should be in place. But what happens if the disaster does not directly affect one's home? For example, damage to the power grid could still result in prolonged blackouts. Planning for these secondary effects is crucial. And by focusing on realistic events and prioritizing preparations accordingly, individuals can spend their time and resources wisely, avoiding the distractions of fear-fetched scenarios. Guys, it's great entertainment, but had some great ideas. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? I got to check the chat. Also, there's still only 8 votes in the poll right now. Obviously, go vote now. You can change it later as we go through this, because I know some people are waiting to the end. Over on the Rumble side, Paradigm says, I just took out a jar of home canned beef that was as good as the day it was canned in 2019. I love it, Paradigm Shift. I love it. Let's see here. Ian says the 2008 collapse and Nat Geo Doomsday Preppers were my entry and need to prep. Yeah, 2008 was my the show I was enthusiastic about the show. What I did find is that over time it just they like made people look stupid. I don't know if they intentionally did it or if maybe they were just, some of the stuff they were doing was stupid, but some of it was smart. One of the very first ones I still have in my head, and it was nothing but smart stuff. So let's see here. Jordan says that show highlighted some of the EXT, the extreme. I got you. Great entertainment, but had some great ideas. Yes. Let's see here. Those that went down, people went down the deep rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, there were some that were really, really out there. But I think what most preppers did, or the people who moved into preparedness based off of that show, was they used that as their Bible, because YouTube really wasn't there really weren't a lot of preppers on YouTube back then. And I think that they kind of use that as their day-to-day to try and find new ideas. It was a great show while it lasted. But after a while, people started to get the picture. And it, once it loses its shock value, a lot of these shows they'll just kind of just go flutter away. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into step number 3. Man, we are cruising right along. We're only 13 minutes into this. And I would emphasize that you put some stuff in the chat. If you do not, then this show is going to be short. All right, step number 3, manage finances carefully. I talk about finances all the time. Yes, I know it's boring. Nobody wants to hear it, especially because nobody has money to do anything with. But for new people, prepping can be expensive, and this reality becomes clear after covering the first 2 steps. The rising cost of living and expensive prepping have caused many people to give up over the past 5 years. According to some people's observations, financial strain is often the number one reason for quitting. The solution lies in strict financial management. Paying off debt is a critical step, as it can become a heavy burden that hinders progress. Prioritize spending on essential items. Excuse me. I may have caught something while I was down in North Carolina. I'm not sure just yet. All right, so prioritize spending on essential items, especially tools and gear vital to survival, food, water. While it is important to be frugal, it is equally important not to compromise on quality for critical survival items. So, when you guys hear me talk about water as the priority, having the ability to store that water, that's very, very important. It's very important, and it cannot be overlooked. Man, I really got it. My throat messed up, didn't I? Let's see. We're going to throw this up on the board here. So what I would ask you guys to do is take a look at that company right there and see what they've got to offer you. I believe there is, if they ask for a code, use local prepper, all one word, or local prepper 10, all one word, and you might be able to save some money. I honestly can't remember. This is one of our Prep Stock sponsors, and I can't remember if I have a code set up with them or not. You might also want to try Prep Stock, but I'm pretty sure the local prepper code should work if there's one. I don't even have it even on the screen here, but this is the company that I used to store my water with. And, it's like there's a lot of different ways to store water, but you can actually take one of these down the stairway of your basement. And because that's the one I actually have, that little blue thing up there. And then you could stack these in your basement, no problem whatsoever. And, I can't say enough. I can't say enough because a lot of people have a lot of solutions for storing lots of water. But the fact is most of them won't fit down the stairwell to your basement. I'll just leave it there. All right, we're going to go on to template number 2. There we go. One cost-saving strategy is learning to prepare and store food efficiently, as well as mastering the art of collecting and purifying water. Building shelters and improving existing ones are also skills that reduce dependence on store-bought solutions. Now, as you start to move into the survivalist mindset, looking at things, a way to do things that are more frugal doesn't always mean better. And that's why you need to do the research to find out if, hey, if just because I'm saving $30 on whatever this item is, okay, doesn't mean that it's going to long-term benefit you. That's one of the reasons that I prefer Glocks. People are like, well, I don't, that's the poor man's gun. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I carried one for many years and in bad places and did bad things and all that other trash, and it never failed me. I think I've had a jam on a Glock like twice in my entire life. Out of the box, works every single time on items that must work. Okay, in situations where one is none and two is one, where the situation doesn't allow you to have two, that one item must work every single time. So think about that when you're purchasing things. You know, in the information age, there's countless opportunities to learn new skills quickly. People can take advantage of this by studying how to reuse or repurpose and build what they need. Additionally, looking to the past and learning how various generations survived can be a valuable resource for saving money and gaining practical skills. And then embracing these methods, the individuals not only save money, but they also develop skills that will provide invaluable when the comforts of the modern life are no longer available. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go to the chat right here. Laser showed up. Good morning, Laser. You are number 2 on the Rumble side. And currently it's 18-10. YouTube is still winning. If you haven't hit that poll on the YouTube side, please do so. Let's see. Paradigm Shift. I blow every cent I get as fast as I get it. Mind you, it ain't much, but it's all I have. This fall, it's all about whole grains by the ton. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. All right, let's see here. True, there's people. And I've got, there we go. Looks like Cuck showed up. Good morning. Oops is in the house, I think. Let's see here. To be more comfortable as a prepper, it takes time. Took about 3 years before I felt like I had a good base, but had a good idea what was needed. Yes, it does. It takes time. It takes time. It's like that's one of the reasons I push that the 6-can method. Because you can see when you can see progress, when you can see accomplishments, it becomes better. It becomes better for you personally because you can feel it. You get that endorphin rush, and it makes you want to do it even more. But when you don't see that progression, you don't see that successful momentum moving forward, then it just makes you want to quit. You can't win if you don't quit, or you can't win if you quit. You can't win if you don't quit. That doesn't sound right at all. That sounds like some progressive, crazy stuff right there. Okay, let's see here. JB the 25th showed up. Good morning, my friend. He made it. JB made it. Let's see here. Rose says, from the Ready store, price dropped to $258 for 160 gallons or so, it said. Nice. The water storage. Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the economy itself is causing some of these companies to, even the companies that I do business with, are starting to cut their prices, not because things are getting better, but because they need to sell the products. And then that can, by us buying those products, we're actually trying to help the company. They may be taking losses, they may not, but they're also not going out of business. And I think that's more important than anything else. Going to the poll, what do we got here? The poll question is which prepping step do you find the most important when starting out? Currently, it's a tie. Gathering information first, 43%. Set realistic priorities, 43%. Manage your finances, 14%. And involve family members, a big donut, the zero. All right, so we probably need to talk about Bob showed up. Good morning, my friend. Good morning. Good to see you. All right, so we probably need to talk about number 4 then. Involve others. Don't go it alone. The image of the lone wolf prepper is often romanticized in media, but this is far from an ideal strategy for emergency preparedness. Human survival has always depended on community and cooperation. Family members should be actively involved in the planning process, and it is beneficial to reach out to like-minded individuals during tough times. Nobody is an expert in all aspects of survival, and pooling knowledge and resources is essential for continued learning and preparedness. Now, surviving alone may be possible, but thriving requires collaboration. Building, protecting food supplies, and addressing medical issues are all tasks that are much more manageable within a group than as an individual. I always say a lone wolf is a dead wolf. That's why wolves live and hunt in a pack. In fact, most lone wolves die off eventually. So let's go ahead and check this. Cuck V threw out the 7 P's. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance is the appropriate verbiage. Oh no, people. Yeah, cat, if you don't get your claws out of me, I'm going to kick you like that. He's a great little cat. His name is Worm. He's a great little cat, but he likes to claw. He likes to use his claws. But I'm not seeing anything on the Rumble side. Looks like the poll is still at 14 votes. And the chat has gone stagnant with 18 people on YouTube and 5 on the Rumble side. Okay, so I guess final thoughts then. I guess final thoughts today is going to be a short stream. The steps, that I've outlined, represent a logical approach to prepping. While they may seem like common sense to some, many people fail to thoroughly investigate what emergency preparedness truly entails. It's a continuous journey of growth and learning, made easier by sharing the burden with others. So, with that said, I'll leave the chat open here for another minute or so. I don't see any changes on the polls, guys. If you could do me a favor and I guess let's do this while we wait for more things on the chat. Do me a favor, put a 1 in the comments if you love your country, America. Looks like Jordan says, I like older folks' knowledge. They did it without modern convenience. They know the area and climate. Absolutely true. 100% true. 100% true. We should, it's a weird noise. We have the generation that we live in has decided to forsake their elders, has decided to put them in a place where there's no way they could ever learn anything. They just, we're so much better than you because now we have little computers that tell us everything. So we don't need you to tell us your stories. And the one thing that they can never wrap around their freaking tiny little brains is that there's a huge difference between information and knowledge. And then there's a massive gap between knowledge and understanding. And I think that this is a huge gap that we have to try and bridge with our children, getting them to listen, like with their brains, to think this is just information I'm gathering, and then I can form my own opinion instead of thinking to reply, which is what they've been trained to do. So, all right, let's see here. I appreciate the ones, guys. I love America. Love your country. Let's see here. Let's see here. When we buy things, stick to your budget. Yeah, exactly. When you go to the store, buy the stuff you plan on buying and walk out. That's a huge thing, Jordan says theory and practice, knowledge are different. Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Paradigm Shift says too. Paradigm Shift does not love his country. Paradigm Shift, you were in the wrong place, my friend. Wow. Okay. Looks like we got a final vote. We're going to close this out. This is going to be, obviously the question is, which preparing step do you find most important when starting out? 47% say gather information first. 40% say set realistic priorities. 13% say manage your finances. And 0% say involve family and others. I would ask you to think about doing that. I would ask you to think about people in your family, reaching out again. What I tell you, one of the easiest ways to do it is to make the list, make that emergency contact list, buy magnets from the $1.25 tree store, go to their house and stick it to their fridge and don't say a word and see what happens. All right, guys, that's going to be about it. Obviously, YouTube won 19-7. Let's see here. Oh, let's see. Okay. we've got something in here. Rose says, got an F on 9th project when responded could live without newspaper, TV, and radio gathered news at local water hole. Okay. Jordan says, sometimes family need to see your vision before they can come on board. Exactly. And yeah, that's going to be about it, guys. As usual, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up on your way out the door. I know we've had some people slacking on that lately, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel and have never watched it before, or you're watching this and you've never seen this before, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you'd like to support the channel and get in on the members' benefits, I'm already starting to think about what I'm going to be putting in the LP's tactical and non-tactical mystery box of stuff that will start the process this month and give it away the beginning of next month. All right, guys, that's going to be about it. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Bye-bye.